2035, October 17. Topolan. Viktor Stanislavski, the president of Livonia with Russian roots, began to integrate Livonia into the Northern Alliance, but the CSAT alliance opposed this, and after signing the document on joining the Northern Alliance, CSAT began an attack from the side of Bran Castle, and the CSAT army began to move from the southeast towards town of Nadbor. At the time of the attack on Topolan, Viktor Stanislavski and the fighters of the Northern Alliance began to evacuate, and the evacuation helicopter was located 3 to 5 kilometers from Topolan, not far from the border with Poland. Viktor Stanislavski was successfully evacuated, and the Livonian defense forces fled. Topolan was subjected to massive attacks from artillery and aircraft, and the CSAT army captured Topolan completely at night, and after that there were battles with Atlantic Alliance soldiers in the surrounding area. Viktor Stanislavski himself was evacuated to Lithuania, flying over all of Livonia, which was surprising, since there were many opportunities to shoot down a helicopter with Stanislavski, but not a single drone was shot down and not a single air defense weapon. A few weeks later, the Livonian army fled east to the Lithuanian border, where they were helped by soldiers from the Northern Alliance. Afterwards, the capture of Grebin was planned, and soon the battle for Grebin began. In addition to the capture of Grebin, the goal was to kill the CSAT general and the officer who supported the general. The city itself was practically taken, but the leadership of the Northern Alliance gave the command to launch missiles at Grebin, which were completely wiped off the face of the Earth city. After this, the soldiers of the Northern Alliance moved to the city of Kolembrady, which was destroyed as a result of the fighting, but CSAT inflicted more damage on the city, and after Kolembrady the attack began towards Tarnów. There was another general in Tarnów, General Lazar, who settled in a local mansion and ruled the city for weeks, but after the attack began, his bunker was attacked by drones and artillery, and the troops of the Northern Alliance themselves tried to break through, but they were unable to. It worked out, and the general himself went with the CSAT soldiers to fight in the forest. In the forest he was eliminated, like the soldiers of the Northern Alliance. But a couple of days later Tarnów was captured, and crimes were also committed in Tarnów by CSAT forces. A year and a half later, in the settlement of Boryk, there were tough battles for this city and for the city of Sitnik, but CSAT dug in there firmly, and knocking it out was their problem. As a result of one of the attacks, Boryk was erased and captured by CSAT, but Sitnik also suffered quite a bit as a result of the battles. The forces of the Northern Alliance in Boryk were fired from many places, but besides this problem there were also convoys of equipment that were traveling to Boryk, and also CSAT soldiers with a Viper detachment were marching. Landings were also made in Boryk. The settlement of Boryk became known thanks to the arrival of the leadership of the Northern Alliance as many as 3 times. The days will come when CSAT forces shoot down Viktor Stanislavski's plane with the enemy generals, special forces, air defense forces, reconnaissance drones, airplanes, and agents took part in this operation. The plane was shot down by fighters, one enemy pilot, and the general survived. The general was eliminated 3 days later as a result of fighting in one of the settlements. 5 days later, drones attacked a military training ground near Nadbor where one of the higher-ranking CSAT generals was located. There were exercises taking place and drones attacked this place from the Air Force, but the strikes were unsuccessful and an agent of the Northern Alliance eliminated the wounded general with some fighters, but the traitor agent was killed by CSAT forces. Afterwards, battles began for settlements in the center of the Nadborsky corridor, and in one of the large cities there were fierce battles, but the operation of the Northern Alliance to eliminate the general who was at the airport turned a lot of things in this area upside down. The general was eliminated by agents who flew in on a CSAT helicopter and then used another agent to destroy enemy columns and soldiers. Afterwards, 5 settlements were knocked out and 3 of them were large. Afterwards, a massive attack began from the southeast on the city of Nadbor and surrounding areas, military installations. As a result of the brutal breakthrough, many were wounded and killed, and another CSAT general was eliminated in Nadbor while escaping from his mansion on the outskirts of the city. CSAT converged on Topolan and the castle, but on June 4, 2039, the Livonian army, with the support of the Northern Alliance, captured Bielawa, which was destroyed as a result of the battle, but Bielawa was still under CSAT attacks for a long time, since from Topolan, Adamov, Bransky Castle and the CSAT camp we were not far away, and CSAT reconnaissance made it possible to hit the enemy very accurately. Soon the battle for Topolan began. The battle for Topolan was the most brutal, comparable only to the breakthrough of the defense near Nadbor, but in Topolan there were generals in a rebuilt mansion. There the CSAT generals were eliminated, and the CSAT army fought stubbornly, but Topolan fell, and the remnants of CSAT retreated to different settlements and forests. Livonia. An attack was soon launched on the city of Adamov where the CSATs were. The CSATs were defeated within 3 weeks. Quite a few soldiers died in Adamov, and not only them. The remnants of CSAT were defeated, and after the Livonian army under attack.